All right. Well, I'll be using code names tonight because I don't want to get sued, which means you're getting some really hot celebrity goss. So, this is a story about open secrets in Hollywood and people who don't warn you about things and finding out the hard way. So, before I even did podcasts, I did comedy in New York, and I got headhunted to move to LA. And I think that I always thought, this is the job that will move me there, but like there'll be so much opportunity in Hollywood, which is now a dead industry. If you're thinking about it, think about something else. But at the time, 2020s, I'm like, this is great. And I had just done a show for Comedy Central that was starring me and my friend who was in a movie with Ryan Gosling recently called, what's the movie called? Project Hail Mary, yes. So my friend Milana Weintraub, shout out, she and I made 3 sketches for Comedy Central. They went really well, and then COVID happened. And so we had this big dream of getting a TV show. And it really got dashed. But, I realized I liked making sketch comedy. I liked having the big production behind it. I was tired of being like a self-starter. I wanted to sell out. And I got the opportunity. A few of my friends who work for different television shows came to me and they said, do you want to make a sketch comedy show, your star vehicle, where, it'll be you and you'll be writing about, the media and misinformation, but like through the lens of sketch comedy. And I was like, yes, but I need someone to help usher me in. And so one of those friends said, hey, I've got a great person to give you this opportunity. He is, and I don't think this is too shady, I think it's true, the less successful half of a comedy duo that was prolific in the 2010s. Perhaps, I think their code names could be Locke and Banana. And Locke is gonna use his name to carry you to the forefront of pop culture. And so we came up with a pitch. We practiced it. It was like so good. I mean, like not only is there a keynote presentation, but there are videos. We get one of the people pitching with us to go on Pierce Morgan and force him to say the tagline from the show, unwittingly. We are selling the show all over town. And we get a few offers, which is like a feeling that like is unlike any other, where you're like, we are wanted. Like it's coming together. And during the pitch process, Locke gets his dream. He's asked to host SNL. And he does. And we have this agreement. We're like, and you're going to say the name of the show. You're just going to put it in there at the end when you're doing your thank yous at the end of SNL. And we should have known then that, like, he didn't say it. And it was, like, the only thing he had to say. But there were some things he said that were, like, weird. And thanking his wife, who becomes a weird main character in this whole story. And so my agent at the time calls me. And she goes, how is pitching going? How do people feel about Locke? And I'm like, oh, my God, they love him. Everybody loves Locke. And she's like, that's great, that's great. How do they feel about his wife, who is now somehow the executive producer on my show? And I'm like, I hadn't really thought about it. I don't think people like her very much. And she's like, yeah, that's what I'm hearing. And I'm like, okay, so like, are you saying like we're not gonna be able to sell this? Or she's like, listen, people like you and they like Locke. It'll come together. And so I forgive this sort of moment. But that should have been the red flag where I said, hey, maybe we like pause this. We haven't sold it yet. We're all still free. Let's just recalibrate. Not me. I was like, no, because it's more important to have a celebrity attached. So we keep going. We get 2 offers. One, kind of mid. The other from a major studio that I won't name because I don't want to be sued. But you can imagine that their main character is vermin, if you think about it. If he was in your house, you wouldn't like that. But if he was at a theme park, you might be excited to see him. So we signed the deal. We are locked in. We are getting several figures. It's all gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And so I'm celebrating one day. It's the Olympics that didn't happen in 2020. It's the weird 2021, and I love the Olympics. And so I'm waiting for a burrito to come to my door, and I get a phone call from, like, unknown, which is probably a bill collector, I think. But hey, I'm riding high. So I answer the call, and it is from Banana's wife. And Banana's wife says, hey, I just had dinner with Locke and his wife. They say they're doing a show with you. And I said, yeah. And I, again, don't know how she got my phone number, so this seems urgent. And she says something that, like, chills go down my back. I never eat the burrito, spoiler alert. She says, I'm just calling you because I wish someone would have warned me. She does about an hour of a monologue at me about how, she thinks that his wife is like Phil Hartman's wife. That she wouldn't trust her to hold a baby. That she once poured alcohol on her birthday cake and this person is sober. And the thing I moved to LA for this job. I'm not a woo-woo person, but this woo-woo thing happened, and I do think it was like the Lord. She says to me while I'm watching the opening ceremonies, mouth agape, there's a sweaty man from Tonga, and she says, there's no accounting for how much money she's cost that black man. And the light above the television burned out. This is a second red flag. I should take the hint. It's not gonna happen for me. But I think, you know what? Me and Ratatouille's boss, we're gonna keep going. They don't have to be that involved. They're non-writing EPs. They're just lending their name to the project. So we start grinding on a pilot. That's the job. We are meeting, and I'll tell you, Locke is busy shooting a movie with Timothy Chalamet. A remake of some sort of property that never needed to come to fruition. Hasn't helped Timmy's career at all. And I asked my agent, I'm like, should I fly to London? Should I warn him about what I've heard? And she said, that's a grown-ass man. He chose to marry that person. Don't do it. And so we just keep writing on it. Finally, we're in pre-production. This is like May 2023. And I'm excited. We're doing like a last meeting about going through the sketches. We're all feeling good about it. And for once, the wife joins the call. She first of all, she comes on and then yells at everybody because she said she got the wrong Zoom, but everybody else was on the Zoom. Anyway, she's here to offer notes. Yeah, she has no credits without this man. Her notes are, comedy happens in threes. The letter K is funny. And finally, give the audience some candy. Now, how do you implement these notes in a script that is a half hour long, has people attached, has a location, and we're all just like, sure, man, we'll add 3 Ks or something. I don't fucking know. Like one time she bragged on one of our calls about knowing Kristen Cinema. So I said, what'd that bitch have to say for herself? She did not like that. Well, she didn't like that nobody laughed or thought her ideas were good, so she threatens to sue the network. Now let me pause there because I brought a text. I brought something that was another red flag that I should have seen. This is from Deux Moi, an anonymous blind item that someone submitted. They said, since Locke was hosting SNL, I wanted to say, whenever I see him, I can only think of his wife. She has a bunch of food allergies. And she had an allergy attack about a eucalyptus plant by her table at Tribeca Grill. And then, in parentheses, on the celeb sighting list. Acting like she couldn't breathe. The plant was fake, and I showed it to her. She just said, oh, and acted totally normal after that. He was very nice about it and apologized after. He left a good tip. Bizarre, though. And so she threatens to sue the company. She threatens to sue the vermin. And so for a month, we hear nothing. We're no longer in pre-production. We're waiting around. My dreams, the thing I quit my dream job for, thinking I was gonna be ushered into the pop culture memory of the United States of America, is on hold. And they get back to us after a month and they say, hey, we paid them off the project, but you have to write a whole new pilot. And I'm like, at this point, well, fuck. Like, these are all our best ideas. And also, like, they're like, one day you can perform that for the internet, but like, we own the TV rights to that. So we do what writers do. We come back together and we write a banger script. Because we know that if the Vermin has nothing, they have IP. And we write a script that is filled with Muppets. We believe that we're gonna have something worth fighting for. And, you know, we know that the strike is coming. It's in all of the papers. We all know that, like, there is this entertainment breakdown on the way. But we have, like, a few more weeks to just shoot the fucking pilot. And right before it happens, you know, Bob Iger's come back, Bobby Gare, and he's got my dream in his hands. And he cancels every single show in production. And then we all go on strike. And so that is just a project that I could not talk about, that was never announced, that was supposed to be my dream, that fell by the wayside. But, you know, there is an upside to this. You know, Julie said at the beginning, there are beginnings and endings all the time. And so that did end. And look, you know, what can be said? Locke, he's still playing, you know, I don't know, a frog in a movie about a video game, something like that. He never gets to be himself in public, and his partner has won Oscars. And everyone knows that his wife has ruined his career. It is diminishing returns. He's doing insurance commercials where there are other celebrities in it who are playing themselves, and he is playing a guy with a guitar. And that's the story of how close I came before Hollywood died. The cheese man. The cheese.